now settled on the fact that that's what it should be?
Yeah, I think so.
So what is it? It's two
Gin and tonics.
2 gin and tonics. Well done, Beth. Yeah, you've embarrassed Rufus. Yeah, he thinks he's quite the big man. We've undone him. We should just give a little shout out to your keyboardist here, who you've been on the show before in a different guise.
I have, as a clarinet player for Duke Special.
Absolutely. This time you're playing the ivories.
I am.
And you and Beth collaborate, is that right, on some of the music?
Yes, we've been writing together for a few years, and working together.
Thank you. Yeah, no, why not?
I think that's it.
You answered my question.
Yeah, I did.
I was looking at you in case you had something else.
Well, last time you said that because I only said my name, Ben, and you were expecting more, and that time I was trying to stretch it out, but there was nothing more I could say on the issue, so sorry about that.
Maybe if you come in a few more times, we can get a whole sentence.
Well, no, I feel I've wasted a bit of airtime with that whole explanation.
Not at all. We're trying to fill it up until we can go home.
Oh, fine, good.
And so you have an album. Is the album's not out yet? It's 26th of May. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And it's called Little Dreamer.
Little Dreamer.
And is this stuff that you've written together, or is it? And is it cover versions as well, or is it just?
There's a couple of old. I love old gospel music. So there's a couple of those on there, and there's one by Bob Dylan, and cover ones are ones that I've known. Like my first album, I have to have that one on there because they're favourites. And yeah, all the rest I've written with Ben.
Oh, fantastic! And so you're going to play another tune for us. Is this also one that you've written?
This is one we've written. Yeah,
okay.
It's called Sweet Hours.
Fantastic, thank you. Please for Beth Rowley, live on the Steve Show.
Thank you.
It was beautiful, but I can't help but feel that I would prefer to hear you doing Wind Beneath My Wings, perhaps in Rufus's friend's karaoke shack. No, it was fantastic. Thank you so much. And so the album, as I say, Little Dreamer, out in the 26th of May. And can people catch you live?
Yeah. I'm playing next month at the Bush Hall, 16th.
Right.
Next month. So yeah, that's going to be a good one, a fun one, I think.
Absolutely. And I'm presuming we can check out some kind of website. If you want more
website is just bethrowley.com, and MySpace, all that lark as well.
You've got the spaces going on, you've got the comms and the co.uk's. Well, fantastic. Another round of applause, please, for Beth Rowley. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Once named the Crown Prince of Reggae by Bob Marley. It's difficult to say, actually. Prince of Reggae by Bob Marley. That's Dennis Brown and Things in Life from the album Hold Tight. I want to try and squeeze in a little tune before the news, and it's Captain Keep an Open Mind. Before that, just to let you know that aside from catching Beth Rowley supporting David Gray at the moment, and also doing a solo show in London at the Bush Hall on the 16th of April, you can also catch her in Dartington at the Great Hall on April 25th. Here's Captain. Their forthcoming album Distraction, that's Captain and Keep an Open Mind, released as a single in April. Hopefully the band will also be in for a session on the 13th of April to do a session here on the Steve Show. We will be back after the news, when we will be delving into the new music from the Pigeonhole and casting our verdict back after the news.
On digital.
Steve Show, BBC Six Music, playing Foo Fighters. Cheer up, boys, your makeup is running. And yes, so here we are. If you like new music such as that, then you've come to exactly the right station, I have thought, because we each week delve into the Pigeonhole and explore new music, new tunes which have caught our attention, either for good or for ill. Sometimes, and we'll get a verdict from the gang here. Also, before we get onto that, though, we were asking for your shout-outs. Obviously, Pete Tong's in a lot of trouble. He's used his power for bad, and he has apparently, and I don't know if this is true at all, but apparently he's name-checked some party. 2,000 drunken revellers turned up, and we're asking you if you perhaps need 2,000 odd revellers to turn up to your soiree because you have, you've got a minimum bar spend or the like. Then you can get in touch with us. 64046 stephen.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk. Let us know where it is, and we'll give a big shout out to it, some shouts out, an outy shout, and then hopefully we can get some people along and everything will be fine. And so yes, public service broadcasting at its very best. Okay, so delving into the Pigeonhole, as I say, first up from Elbow, their new album is out tomorrow, Seldom Seen Kid. Here's The Bones of You. From the new album, which is released tomorrow, that's The Bones of You, and it's Elbow. We are delving into the Pigeonhole and giving our assessment of some new music, and I'll start with Harry. Thoughts?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I remember when Elbow first came out and going to see them and getting really excited by it. They do this sort of very woozy kind of, it's epic, it's hypnotic, it's possibly isotonic. It's just really, really lovely stuff, and it sounded great with the headphones on.
Dan, Guy Garvey, of course, is a Six Music DJ. Are you going to be slagging him off?
At my size? I think not. I don't even slag off young children. I thought that was great. Yeah, very classy, aren't they? They're a classy act, Elbow. And I'm worried about those people, thousands perhaps, who've been phoned up by friends who say, "You got to hear the new Elbow song, it's on now." And they've just missed it, and they've caught me talking about it. Look, go and get it. You need it in your life. So I've catered for those people as well.
Sammy, Guy Garvey is from the north, as I understand it. So, you speaking on behalf of all Northerners, Elbow, are you a fan?
I'm not going to judge it on the basis of Northernness, because I would
that's a
class
shame.
myself as incredibly Northern. Hyper-Northern, I'd say.
Uber Northern.
Uber Northern. The last song that I heard and fell in love with on first listen was Shake a Fist by Hot Chip, and that's just had exactly the same effect. Completely different song. I love it. If we're lining these songs up as pigeons, that one's Diamond Encrusted. That was such a good song. I feel emotional.
It's thumbs up all round here for Six Music's Guy Garvey. Rufus, your opinion?
I'm not going to buck the trend, Steve. That was fantastic. I don't know if there's a video yet, but
I'm sure they probably... I'm not sure that's a single, that's just an album track.
I'm hoping that I can send a tape of myself wearing marigolds and a cape, nothing else, charging around the house like Superman.
Just send it to me.
I was going to say, if they don't want it, I'll have it.
Because it's fantastic, wonderful. Made me feel like a superhero.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite a sort of gloomy existential superhero, one who just sort of... he gets changed in the phone box, it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I saving these people? Who cares?
Yeah. That
Great.
sort of thing.
I look forward to that enormously.
Okay.
Griff Rhys, you're probably a huge fan. You know him obviously from the Super Furry Animals. He's teamed up with producer Boom Blip. I know
right.
you're also a massive fan of Roof. And they brought out this tune, I Lust You, which is a forthcoming single from their album Stainless Style. See what you think of it. Griff Rhys from Super Furry Animals and some producer guy, Boom Blip, Boom Bloppy, Boom Bop, Boom Bop.
The Big Bopper.
Yeah, Griff Rhys Jones and the Big Bopper there. And a track called I Lust You. They are recording under the guise of Neon. And Sammy, you obviously don't remember the 80s. You were born last week. And so... I'm sure you've seen any number of 80s nostalgia programs. I could imagine that perhaps featuring there on the soundtrack. Does it tickle your fancy?
My fancy isn't even mildly tickled by that. The last song I want to adore and give flowers to, and this one I want to use as some sort of implement for wiping face or possibly elsewhere.
Oh, no.
It was just a pastiche of Pet Shop Boys and noise, and even one of the sound effects is if you go into any school classroom and dig out a keyboard from about 10 years ago and put percussion mode on, there is a hand clap that sounds just like that. They've lived at Cromlington Community High School.
Rufus, isn't that the point? A lot of music now dripping in irony and retro. Is that not what Griff has done there?
Well, Steve, as you and I both know, the point of postmodernism is to take the very best elements of the past and to fashion them into something new. That didn't do that. That song didn't do that. It simply fashioned something from the past. And that's
okay. Right.
Yeah.
Dan, side projects. You've got major artists, often they'll dibble dabble with a side project. Can you think of ones where it's worked beautifully?
Wow. Yeah. What about Wings? No, that was his name. Electronic. They were much better than
I
you.
thought they were good. They weren't necessarily much better, but they were worthwhile side projects.
Right. Yeah. I think they've been quite harsh. My fellow side kickies here.
Side kickers.
But I guess there's something. I thought it was rather pleasant. But the Elbow track, we were hushed. There was no noise in here when that was on. This one, people were talking. And I thought, well, that probably senses that there's something not entirely essential about that, which I guess is fair.
Harry, are you saying no to Neon?
No, I quite enjoyed it actually. It was icy, it was ethereal, it reminded me a bit of Yazoo.
No bad thing.
And I was also singing the Bloodhound Gang, Let's Do It, like they do on the Discovery Channel to it for some reason. But no, I quite enjoyed it, and I always like a little riff that I could play with one finger.
You, I imagine, Harry, are desperately looking forward to new material from James.
I'm literally frantic with excitement.
Wait no longer, as we can play for you now. New single released digitally on the 7th of April. Here's White Boy.
Someone restrain me, please.
From James. the forthcoming album Hey Ma. That's James, and the tune is called White Boy. Steve Show, BBC Six Music with me, Steve Merchant, and we are just giving our opinion of some new Pigeonhole tunes. That's the last one. And Dan, let's start with you. James, I imagine you had the t-shirt back in the 90s with James and the little flower logo written on the arms.
Yeah.
Like everybody else.
Of course.
You were
Yeah. I was
legally
an absolute
obliged.
drone.
If you were in the sixth form, you were obliged to do that.
I did. I went to go and see them many decades ago and sat down with everyone else, and it was all jolly good fun. And obviously quite an obvious observation is that it's like the last 15.7 years have never happened. But what do James do? Do they come back with a radical new sound like Lethal Bizzle? They'll just be derided. Or they come back sounding exactly like they sounded before. I think they might as well, and that does. So because I did have a soft spot for them way back when, I did quite like that, although I suggest that today's youth might not be as charitable as me.
Rufus, I imagine you were more of a Mega City 4 fan.
Yeah, they're very much divided into two camps, isn't it?
Let's Atomic Dustbin, of course, just dividing that camp.
Carter USM.
Yep. So where do you stand with James?
I agree with Dan. I think that there's more ambition and scope and size to that than the stuff that I remember from the mid-90s. So I applaud them for that, and you can't come back sounding completely different if you're James. Everyone would laugh at you. So I liked it. I wouldn't listen to it. I wouldn't choose to listen certainly on the top 10 favoured playlist, but I liked it.
Sammy, I imagine you've got no memory whatsoever of James being a tiny teeny tot. If that were your first introduction to them, what would you make of it?
Unmoved.
Unmoved.
I obviously know Sit Down, and I was trying to numb the pain of that song by singing that in my head. So that's all that exists in James's back catalogue for me is Sit Down, and probably for many others. And if you can't live up to your greatest hits.
Ooh, finally, Harry, a final word from you. I imagine you've got no time for James.
Well, irrational hatred, is it a bad thing? I don't know, but I've never really liked James, so I apologise to James fans now, because this isn't going to be a level-headed, sensible review. I just can't stand them. It made my flesh crawl. I couldn't bear to ever listen to it again.
All right, thank you very much indeed for that, a measured opinion. So we need to get, those are some shout-outs. We were asking earlier for people for shout-outs. Harry, you should have those to hand. I need to give them out before the end of the time, because quick, the music, we need music.
Yeah, big shout-outs. We've been asked to do a big Westwood-style explosion. I don't know what does he do? Does he kind of go...
drops the bomb.
He drops the bomb. Oh my word. Well, apparently we're going to drop the bomb and announce that this Thursday at the Lock Tavern in Camden there's Campari Safari. Don't really know what that is. I assume it's going to be quite good though.
Sure, any others quick?
Not really. People don't want hordes of teenagers going around to their houses, basically.
More for them. We'll leave you with Bobby Roy back next week. It could have been so sweet. Thanks very much indeed to all the gang here. Final round of applause. Come on. From Lou Reed's 1974 album Sally Can't Dance, that's Sally Can't Dance. On the Steve Show, BBC Six Music, happy Easter to you, one and all, your family, your friends, homeless people, anyone listening, drug addicts, all the sort of regular Six Music listeners, happy Easter to you all. And I was actually thinking, I was going to throw this at my cronies here, is Lou Reed possibly the sort of perfect Six Music kind of artist? He's hugely influential. He's got a lot of kind of big hits that we all love and sing along to, but he's also very perverse. He followed up that album, of course, with Metal Machine music, to a double album of sort of feedback and loops and noise. It's sort of, I get the feeling that he's exactly the sort of person that could appeal to almost every Six Music listener at some point.
Yes, he is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's a purist, isn't he? He's a purist, Steve. He's a crotchety old man.
Sure.
Like many Six Music listeners.
Yeah.
He doesn't suffer fools gladly.
Not unlike yourself.
Absolutely. I like to think there's a little bit of Reed in me.
Sure. And Sammy, you're a child, almost a babe in arms.